Imagine a village where, to set foot inside, you must cross a mountainside tilted at nearly 48 degrees.
There is no road for cars, no ordinary route leading up to it.
Only one passage that seems impossible. But this is not a fairy tale. The place I am talking about is Stoos, home to one of Switzerland's strangest transportation paradoxes. Stoos stands about 1,300 meters above sea level in the canton of Schwyz. From the valley, it looks like the kind of place modern development should have passed by. A small settlement above the roads. A village without private cars in its center. A community separated from the towns below by a steep wall of forest and rock. Yet Stoos is not frozen in the past. Homes, hotels, restaurants, winter sports facilities, workers, residents, goods, and visitors all depend on a system that must function every day. Everything that keeps the village moving has to overcome the same barrier. The mountain. In most towns, roads carry people directly to their destination. In Stoos, that responsibility falls largely on public mountain transport.
And the more difficult the village became to reach, the more advanced that transport had to become.
The result is the Stoosbahn, a funicular that climbs a maximum gradient of 110%, equivalent to about 47.7 degrees. From inside the cabin, the valley appears to tilt and fall away. But the passengers remain nearly upright.
4 cylindrical compartments automatically adjust as the incline changes, keeping their floors almost level while the entire vehicle climbs the mountainside.
This is not technology added to an isolated village as decoration. It is the system that allows daily life above the valley to continue. It carries residents and workers. It supports the movement of luggage, equipment, supplies, and visitors.
And it connects a car-free mountain community to the economy beyond the plateau.
Stoos appears to exist beyond the modern transport network. But in reality, its difficult geography demanded a connection more advanced than most communities below would ever need. The steepest funicular in the world is not simply a record beneath a mountain village. It is the answer to the problem created by the mountain itself. And that problem begins with where Stoos was built.
From Stoos, the valley looks close enough to touch.
That is the deception. On a map, the village sits near the towns and transport routes of central Switzerland.
But every journey must first overcome the distance between 2 different levels of the mountain.
Stoos rests on a high plateau, about 1,300 meters above sea level, beneath the slopes of Fronalpstock. Once you arrive, the landscape opens. Meadows spread between homes, hotels, footpaths, and winter facilities. There is enough space here for a village to live and grow. But the edges of that plateau tell a different story. Beyond them, the ground falls sharply through forests and exposed slopes toward the valleys below. Stoos is not an island surrounded by water. It is an island created by height. The places that supply the village may appear nearby. Yet reaching them means descending from the plateau, crossing the valley, and climbing back again. That vertical separation affects almost everything. Much of what sustains Stoos begins somewhere below.
Workers must travel upward. Visitors arrive with luggage and equipment.
Businesses depend on supplies, moving through a landscape that offers few practical routes. The season changes the surface, but not the need for connection. Summer reveals green slopes and forest. Winter covers the same terrain with snow and turns much of the surrounding mountain into a winter sports landscape. Stoos is not completely isolated. A funicular reaches it from Stoos, while an aerial cableway climbs from Moorschach. But these connections reveal the real power of the geography. Movement cannot spread freely across the mountainside. It is concentrated into a small number of carefully engineered corridors. That is why the village can feel open once you are inside it, yet difficult to reach from almost every direction. The plateau made settlement possible. The slopes made ordinary access impractical.
Together, they created a community where transportation could never remain a minor service.
It had to become part of the village's foundation. And once every resident, worker, visitor, and delivery reaches the top, another question begins. How does daily life function in a place where the road ends below? Before the first passengers arrive, Stoos is almost silent. Footpaths lie empty between the houses. Hotel windows begin to glow. Somewhere near the station, a door opens and the village prepares for another day. Then the funicular arrives. Its doors release workers, residents, families, luggage, and equipment into the center of Stoos. Within minutes, the quiet plateau begins to move. Only around 150 people live here permanently. Yet the village contains thousands of guest beds, along with hotels, restaurants, winter facilities, and a small mountain school. That difference shapes daily life. Stoos may be small as a community, but it must operate like a much larger destination.
Beds must be prepared.
Kitchens must be supplied. Employees must reach their workplaces before visitors arrive. During winter, ski equipment, clothing, food, and everything needed for a busy mountain day must somehow reach the plateau. There are no ordinary streams of cars spreading through the village. Movement begins at a few arrival points, then continues on foot or through local service transport.
That makes the station more than a station.
For a visitor, the funicular ride lasts only a few minutes. For someone who lives or works here, it may be the first part of a commute, the final stage of a delivery, or the route home after a day in the valley. On a mountain, timing determines when work begins, when supplies arrive, and when people can return. This is why the funicular matters far beyond its record-breaking slope. It concentrates the movement of an entire community into one dependable corridor. Stoos is car-free above. But it is not motionless. Its calm streets are possible because the movement they require has been organized below them. And long before the cylindrical cabins arrived, another machine carried that responsibility for generations. A funicular opened in 1933. For more than 8 decades, it was the line that kept Stoos moving. To residents, it was never a tourist attraction. It was the way to work, the way home. The route used by employees, families, luggage, food, equipment, and almost everything the village needed from outside. People planned their days around its timetable. Hotels waited for arriving staff and supplies. Visitors stepped out of its cabins and continued uphill toward the village.
For decades, the system worked.
But Stoos was growing busier. More goods had to reach hotels, restaurants, and winter facilities. The old station also did not bring passengers directly into the center of the village. The line had not failed. Stoos had simply outgrown it. A replacement needed to carry more passengers, provide easier access, and shorten the journey between the valley and the village. It also needed to serve wheelchairs, families, workers with equipment, and travelers carrying heavy luggage. But building a new connection created another problem. The most direct route crossed a much steeper part of the mountain. It would need to pass through rock, cross open ground, and climb a slope no ordinary funicular cabin could handle comfortably. Meanwhile, daily life in Stoos could not stop. Workers still had to arrive. Residents still needed to leave and return. Supplies still had to move uphill. The old line continued carrying the village while engineers prepared its successor. After more than 8 decades of service, Stoos was ready for a new lifeline. But first, that lifeline had to be cut through the mountain. While the old funicular continued carrying Stoos, construction began on its replacement. The village could not pause while engineers worked. Employees still had to reach hotels and restaurants. Residents still needed to travel. Food, luggage, and equipment still had to move uphill. The new line had one clear purpose. It had to connect the valley more directly with the center of Stoos. The route would stretch about 1,740 meters and climb roughly 744 meters. To reach the village, it had to cross 2 bridges and pass through 3 tunnels.
The distance was short.
The terrain was not. Crews worked across exposed slopes and inside solid rock. Every section had to connect precisely with the next, despite dramatic changes in height and gradient. For the people above, this was not a project built only to impress visitors. It promised a shorter journey, greater capacity, and easier access for workers, families, older passengers, luggage, and equipment. The extreme slope was not chosen simply to create a world record. It came from following a more direct route toward the village. By 2017, the tunnels, bridges, track, and stations were ready. For the first time, the new line reached directly into the heart of Stoos. But the mountain had created one final challenge. At the steepest section, an ordinary cabin floor would tilt so sharply that standing comfortably would become almost impossible. Before passengers could ride this new lifeline, engineers needed to solve the meaning of one extraordinary number. 110%. One number made the new Stoosbahn famous. 110%. It sounds as if the track rises beyond vertical.
But gradient and angle are not the same measurement.
A gradient of 100% means the track rises 1 meter for every meter traveled horizontally.
That creates an angle of 45 degrees.
At 110%, the track rises about 1.1 meters across the same horizontal distance.
The actual angle is approximately 47.7 degrees.
Not 110 degrees. Not completely vertical. But from inside the cabin, it can feel far more extreme than the number suggests. The valley disappears beneath the windows. Trees seem to lean away from the track. A person standing on an ordinary floor at this angle would be forced backward, placing constant pressure on their legs and whatever they were holding. That would be difficult for almost anyone. It would be worse for older passengers, families with children, travelers carrying luggage, and workers moving equipment. Stoos needed a connection designed for daily use. The journey could not feel like climbing a ladder every morning. So engineers could not simply attach a conventional cabin to the new track.
They needed a floor that would remain nearly level while the railway moved from flat ground onto one of the steepest operating inclines in the world.
The solution would become the most recognizable feature of Stoosbahn. The mountain would remain tilted.
But the passengers would not.
The most important part of Stoosbahn is not what passengers see. It is what their bodies do not feel. As the track rises, the vehicle follows the mountain, but its 4 cylindrical compartments rotate in the opposite direction. The slope changes beneath the train. The cabin floors remain nearly horizontal. Outside the windows, trees lean away and the valley drops sharply. Inside, passengers can continue standing almost normally.
That difference turns an extreme railway into practical public transport.
Without the leveling system, every journey would place passengers on a floor tilted close to 48 degrees.
Holding luggage would become difficult.
Moving equipment would become awkward. Simply keeping balance would demand constant effort.
That is not acceptable for a connection used every day.
The funicular must serve more than able-bodied visitors searching for an unusual ride. It must work for older residents, for families with children, for passengers using wheelchairs or pushing strollers, for hotel employees carrying bags and workers traveling with equipment. The system also allows people to enter and leave on a level surface at the stations. There is no steep staircase inside each compartment. No need for passengers to climb through a vehicle shaped around the track.
Instead, the vehicle reshapes itself around them.
This is what makes the cylindrical cabins more than a visual symbol. They separate the experience inside from the extreme geography outside. The mountain remains as steep as before. But for a few minutes, the passenger does not have to fight it. And once the slope has been removed from beneath their feet, Stoosbahn can perform its most important task.
It can carry the daily needs of an entire village.
On a winter morning, Stoosbahn carries 2 different versions of the village. The first is easy to see. Visitors arrive with skis, cameras, suitcases, and plans for a day in the mountains. The second is quieter. Residents are returning home. Hotel employees are heading to work. Food, clean linen, repair materials, parcels, and equipment are moving toward businesses above the valley. Before a restaurant serves breakfast, its ingredients must reach the plateau. Before a hotel opens a room, workers and supplies must arrive. Before the winter slopes become busy, people and equipment must be in position. In a town below, much of this movement disappears into ordinary road traffic. In Stoos, it passes through a few concentrated connections. The funicular is the largest of them. It can carry up to 1,500 passengers per hour in each direction. Its upper station opens directly into the center of the village. From there, people continue on foot. Luggage and goods can be transferred to local transport for the final distance. The cable car from Moorshak provides another route. But its smaller cabins serve a different scale of movement. This difference becomes especially visible in winter.
Snow brings more equipment, more visitors, and more pressure on hotels, restaurants, and mountain facilities. The village may look quiet beneath the snow.
Its supply system cannot be. For a tourist, Stoosban is a journey lasting only a few minutes. For a resident, it may decide when the working day begins. For a business, it determines when staff and supplies arrive.
For a family, it is part of the route between home and the world below.
That is why Stoos needed such an extreme railway. Not simply to move people up a steep mountain, but to carry the weight of an entire car-free community.
And once that connection became faster and larger, Stoos began receiving something else. More attention than the village had ever known.
When Stoosban opened in 2017, it solved a transportation problem. It also gave people a new reason to visit. Images of its yellow, cylindrical cabins traveled around the world. Visitors began arriving not only for the snow, the trails, or the mountain views. They came to ride the machine itself. For local businesses, that attention mattered. More visitors meant busier hotel rooms, fuller restaurants, more work, and greater demand for services across the village. Tourism has long supported life in Stoos, especially during winter. But success looks different in a car-free community. Visitors do not spread into the village through dozens of roads. They arrive through the same station residents use to return home. The same connection brings employees to work and helps businesses receive what they need. On busy days, the lifeline and the attraction become the same place. That creates a delicate question. How can Stoos grow without becoming only a stage for visitors? Tourism supports jobs and keeps hotels, restaurants, lifts, and local services active. But development must still leave room for ordinary life. A child walking through the village should not feel like part of someone else's holiday. A worker should still be able to reach a morning shift. A resident returning from the valley should still recognize the journey home. The future of Stoos depends on that balance. Better access must strengthen the community, not replace it. That is why the success of Stoosbahn cannot be measured only by passenger numbers, photographs, or international attention. It must also be measured by whether Stoos remains more than a destination. A place where people still live. And that brings us back to the railway. Not as a record, as a lifeline. The track is still as steep as it was at the beginning. The valley falls beneath the windows. The cylindrical cabins rotate, keeping their floors nearly level. But now, this journey means something different. Inside are workers finishing their shifts. Residents returning from the valley. Families carrying bags home. Stoos did not build this funicular simply to create a world record. It built it because daily life had to cross a mountain. People needed to reach work. Hotels and restaurants needed staff and supplies. Residents needed a reliable route between the village and the world below. In an ordinary town, roads divide that work among thousands of vehicles. In Stoos, much of it passes through one carefully engineered connection. The 110% gradient made Stoosbahn famous. But its real value lies in ordinary moments. A worker arriving on time. A delivery reaching a kitchen. An older resident traveling without climbing steep steps. A family returning before nightfall. Stoosbahn does not remove the mountain. It allows a community to live above it. That is the answer to the paradox of Stoos. The village looks distant from the modern world. Yet remaining connected requires some of the most advanced mountain transport ever built. As darkness settles across the plateau, another cabin climbs toward the village. Inside are not people chasing a record. They are people going home. Beneath them runs the lifeline that keeps Stoos connected, inhabited, and alive. Thank you for traveling with us to this extraordinary village in the Swiss Alps. Subscribe to continue discovering how geography shapes the way people live.